you play with Shaq.
You played with Shaq. But you ain't play. No, you ain't play with Shaq. You played with Shaquille.
Yeah, okay.
I played with Shaq. You played with Shaquille.
Right.
A lot of people like to shit on the bubble championship.
In the bubble, it's really like kind of on some street ball in a sense. It's like, you put your best five out there, I put my best five out there. There's no other distractions on the court, off the court. It's just straight hoop.
Zach Randolph's caught me in one of them lockups and snapped my whole elbow.
Deja vu, huh?
Yeah, because we're gonna talk
about Yo, everybody, welcome back. We back here on the timeout with Dwyane Wade. I am actually Dwyane Wade. Introduce my co-host as always. The first one is Wright, Darrell Wright. Boy, you looking good in that bold golf.
Thank you, I appreciate it. Shout out to my boys down in Ireland sending me this fresh gear,
Listen, we love free gear on this show right here.
Free gear.
We love free gear. Next, Coach Johnson, Chris Johnson, everybody, you guys know him.
You know what it is. We here today, baby.
We here, but we're excited to be here because we got a special guest on the show, one of the greats in the game of basketball. A lot of people know him as Rondo. We know him as Rajon Rondo. He's a two-time champ. 4-time All-Star, but most importantly, I think more so than anything, he's a 2-time defensive player, first team on defense. I think that's very important as we talk about the game of basketball. It's not just offense. So everybody, please welcome to the Y in the Timeout Show, Rajon Rondo. Rondo.
What it do, gentlemen?
AKA Doe.
I think I just started being able to call him Doe. We'll get to that later.
Double R.
Yeah. That's like friends. Like, your friends call you Doe.
Correct. Yeah.
We'll get that later. Doe, welcome to the show, bro.
Appreciate you having me,
dog.
Yes, sir.
So you out here in L.A.?
We're in L.A. for a couple weeks.
Out here in L.A. right now, bro?
Spring break with the kiddos.
Yeah?
Yes, sir. And able to tackle a couple things while I'm out here.
Yeah? You were with this guy the other day. We FaceTime. You was with this guy the other day.
I was. I'm always with this guy when I'm in L.A. It's my guy.
That's my brother.
Yes, sir.
Coach Johnson?
Yeah, the dopest thing is Doe hit me. He said, I need Pierre with you.
Yeah.
And Pierre just got cleared with his left hand, but right hand, so Pierre's going to do all left hand work.
Mm-hmm.
So doing all left hand work for a kid in the 7th grade is extremely tough.
Yeah.
But the
So
expectation.
Pierre, 7th grade going to 8th grade.
7th grade going to 8th grade.
Yeah. 7th grade? The highlights I saw in 7th grade?
In the 7th grade.
Yeah, but they highlights. Everybody. Hey, man, listen, I'm in the AU where everybody look at highlights.
Right there you go.
Like these damn highlights.
And I'm coach. I'm telling you.
Coach. Tell me, coach.
He like that. He gonna be like that.
Okay.
He tough. He's smart.
Mm-hmm.
And this week he even showed me with his ability to only train left hand.
Mm-hmm. Why is he only training left hand?
Because his right hand, he had broke something, it fractured.
Right finger's fractured.
His right finger.
Okay.
And so it's a challenge for anyone to have to just train with one hand.
No doubt.
So that means that it's his weak hand. So it's not his non-dominant hand. And his ability to go for 90 minutes and then implement his dad in our defensive strategies.
Yeah.
And then everything for him is competitive.
Yeah.
So if I bring him in, you're like, what we doing? We going 2 out of 3, 3 for 3, and then he beat Pierre on left-hand floaters.
Uh-huh.
They ran a stretch of about 6, 7, 8 in a row.
Yeah.
And then he beat Pierre, and Pierre's like, I said, come on, Pierre, you can't let that happen. Yeah. You can see Pierre walking off.
Yeah.
I posted the clip on IG, but it's just dope for me to get a chance to always be a fly on the wall.
No doubt.
And to watch parents and me being able to work with Rondo and Coach Rondo, and then have Pierre over the years, like I did with Zaire and you, and like I'm doing with Devin and you, and with the rest of the players that played in that league that you guys play in, their kids are
With
coming
their kids.
through.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
That's a whole
Well,
nother.
we're all fathers up here, and all of our kids either play basketball or have played basketball. Doe, how is it for you watching your son, 7th grade, like trying to accomplish something? Like how do you handle this?
I try to be hands-on, but I try to put a great team around him. I don't want to be my voice all the time. It takes a village and everything that you do, especially in raising a young black man. So for me, just putting people like Chris in his life. I got him a new strength and conditioning coach. I shout out Jeremy Kelly. I got a guy back home that runs my AU program, Tim Barnett and JC Kennard. So those guys are in his life a lot and be able to talk the game with him. So not just me constantly, always over and over. But for me, as a dad, I just try to help him alleviate the pressure. Just still having the game as far as just playing the game for love of it, getting better daily because you want to get better. he has no pressure to do anything but understand how to count money. How to manage his own money. That's my main focus for him. But he's like, Dad, I want to play the game. I want to play it at a high level. I want to beat you in every record that you ever accomplished. So
he already on that.
Already on that. And he's beat me. I will admit, he has beat me. He has beat me in left-hand game of horse, so I'll give him that. Okay. A floater, yeah. He's on it. So he's been out for like a month with his left hand, and he's grinding every day, trying to get right.
Yeah, man, I love that. I coached my kid for like the last 4 years. It started in the 7th grade, right after the pandemic. And when I run into my NBA guys, I always ask, does your son listen to you? Because I know out of the 10 to 20 people I've asked, it's probably like 3 guys that said, yeah, my son listens to me. Right. Everybody else, and I'm talking about some of the greatest players, some of the baddest that play.
Right.
And I asked them this question, they're like, So I would love to know, how does your son take constructive criticism from you and the things that you say to him? How does he take that?
I think he takes it well. Him and I spent a lot of time working on our relationship as far as this, like I said, at times I want to be dad on the court, but other times I got to be his coach. Yep. So it's a thin line. I'm working on it. I even talked to Brunson daddy, Jalen Brunson's father, and we had, spoke a couple of conversations about it, but just like you said, picking other guys' brain, how they teach their son. So for me, it's always a learning process, but we had a great relationship. He listens most of the time, and when he doesn't listen, I pull up the film.
That's what's up. I think you said something very key.
That helps me, it helps my argument, keep the arguments down.
Yeah, no doubt.
I think you said something very key, though. You have a relationship. So a lot of times, these dads don't have the proper relationship. Basketball is just a vehicle. You said your point is for him to be a great kid, great at what he's going to do, managing his money.
A great man, the people you put around him.
So it allowed basketball to be a vehicle that you can kind of work on together. When I watch, like, normal people, plumbers, their son become plumbers. And, people don't, there's no problem in that, people that are dentists, people become dentists, doctors, kids become doctors. Right. And so you guys are experts, right? I think it really comes down to how you communicate and building a team. So a lot of times, D-Wright, I guess when you're talking to those players that are experts, they may not be expert at communication. And so it's the way you communicate and then the people you put around to echo your voice.
Yeah, well, that's amazing that you already at the age that he's at, that you're able to look at it and say, I'm going to put these people in place around him. I mean, he's in 7th grade, and so by the time he get to a certain level, he's already going to know how to be a pro.
Right.
Yep. And I think that's one of the most important things with these kids is understanding you want to play in the NBA, you got to learn how to be a pro.
Right. Yeah, no doubt.
Right? We talked about that with Zaire. It was like, yo, forget all that. If you can't be a pro, it don't matter what your name is, how talented you are. Right. You got to show up every day as a pro. And what does that looks so different than just a basketball player.
It's the details.
Yeah. Correct.
Yeah.
It's the details.
I mean, y'all better start listening out here to the right podcast, man.
Bro, talk to him.
It's game being given out here now.
You got giving it out right now. You better get it.
You're giving out game.
Man,
Speaking of giving out game, and you just mentioned it, and I know you actually mentioned it, film. And I heard you say this, and I've been using it. I just want to tell you, I'm stealing it. I've been saying it everywhere. But I heard you say this, and it's so simple. You was like, the answers to the test is in the film. And I was like, genius.
Yeah, no doubt.
Explain that. Explain that for everybody out here. What does that mean for you? And obviously, you're one of the greatest to do it.
I'll give you a little bit of this game.
Don't tell them everything.
I got to start with giving kudos, credit to my high school coach, Doug Bibby. And my freshman year in high school basketball, he suspended me 12 games as well for other stuff off the court, but he made me sit on the bench and watch the games. And then when we watched film, at that age, you hate being called out. You hate looking at yourself on film that's never been done before, so I couldn't stand it. But he was teaching me the game. And then I started to learn. I started to pay attention instead of taking it as, I took it as constructive criticism versus just straight criticism, or he's knocking me, or he's always pointing me out. But for me, I was the best player on the team. And if he can coach me, he can coach anybody. So understanding, learning my mistakes, going through it over and over again, now I started to look at it like, okay, let me figure this out. And then when I would play the same team over and over again, I would end up knowing their plays because of the mistakes I learned. I got to watch their habits. When a guy makes 4 dribbles to the left, he usually throw the hook pass to the right. So I'm able to pick up the game, and I'm like, this is just like school for me. And when I study, I ace the test. If I don't study, I'm gonna fail the test. It's not that it's not that it's not complicated. So for me, just studying guys' tendencies, trying to be ahead of the curve and taking it serious. And I always ask a lot of young guys in the last couple of years I've worked with, some of these guys coming from colleges, prestige colleges, not even watching film. So that's crazy to me. Like I said, I'm not gonna call anybody out, but like I said, there's been some great young talent that's been stars at these schools, and they come to pros, and it's like, I don't watch film. Like, why not? Because I don't know what to look for. I'm like, damn.
So that was my question.
I don't know what to look for.
That's a bar.
Yeah.
So, but when those watching film, if you was giving out some keys defensively, what are you looking at?
Just give out a few, though. Don't give out a lot, though.
I'm gonna give you one key. Yep. So if I'm watching film myself and I'm checking a Steph, I'm watching the film in slow motion. So whenever Steph moves, if he's taken 2 steps before I moved, I'm behind. I've lost, and that's where I got to pick up my my intellect, understand. Okay, when he moves, I need to move. Or obviously he's the master of the best who's ever did it with playing without the ball. So for me, watching him just on a simple pin down, I'm able to get to the body or lock and trail, understand how not to get hit on the screen. And if I go over the top, now I'm gonna force him into it too. If I'm checking Steph, if I can avoid him from shooting, not even get 16 attempts up. If I can get his attempts down to 8, if you go 8 for 8, it's 8. But if you get to 16, you can get crazy. If he's 16 threes attempt, then you got 12 free throws. It's gonna be a long night.
Right.
So whenever I'm watching or playing against one of the greats, the D Roses, those guys, I'm not just studying, them get 32 points. How are they getting 32 points? How is James Harden getting 60 points the last 14 games?
Free throws.
Okay, that way he's averaging 18 free throws. If I can take away if I can test all the shots without leaving the floor, I'm gonna leave away. The refs shouldn't call fouls technically if you don't leave the floor. You're not landing in their airspace. So just trying to play the game within the game on how to break down some of the stars and how you play them and how to, minimize their point systems or how they approach the game. Because D-Wade might be thinking, okay, if I get 6 a quarter, but 4 of his points in the first half might be from free throws. If I can take that away now, he only got 6 at half versus 18 or whatever he may have, depending on if he's shooting a 3 or the 2.
How tough is it as a point guard guarding the ball, right? Not knowing what's behind
you.
You
on the island.
See, so listen. So I'm that's a great question. And shout out to just being a young pup in the league. My first year, like you said, I'm at the top of the key. I'm guarding Gilbert Arenas, and he welcomed me to the league. I don't know what's going on behind me. My break year, but the day one when Kevin Garnett got the training camp, it wasn't even training camp. It was a pickup. We got the camp was maybe in October. We was there in September.
What year was this for you?
This is my second year in the league, so it's completely different from like what I've ever experienced my first year. No knock to the bigs I had my rookie year, but they didn't know any better.
They're not KG.
I got young. It's Alex Jefferson, Perk. They the young pups.
They not KG.
Right. They didn't use their voice like that.
And the first pickup game, I'm at the top of the key. KG's like, screen. I'm like, damn, this nigga's I think he's in the paint still. Damn. Okay, cool. All right. Now, I know the ball's coming. I know I can get this to the ball, and I can force him left or right. By yourself, though. I'm like, this nigga is just perfect. Like, it makes my job so much easier. So for me, that was a hell of a question. Like, that's so key, and that's why I teach my young kids in my AU program is like, the bigs are the quarterbacks, the bigs are the linebackers, the bigs are the safety. You have to talk as much as possible because you're always in the back line of defense. Right. That's why Brian is a great. Brian's going to be in the opposite corner, checking the shooter in the corner, calling everything out. And it just makes your job easy.
And that's like he's standing right next to you.
Exactly, right, exactly.
Yeah, he's not talking on his breath.
This makes it easy. Now, okay, because it doesn't have to be the big to call the screen.
Right.
Brian's going to I'm going to be calling the weak side corner because I'm going to be probably checking pretty much the same guy if I'm not on the point guard, especially late in my career.
Right.
So I was able to get back off the ball and able to just quarterback and use my voice to help orchestrate. And like I said, let's call the play out. Pin down, hey, top block over there. Like, it's just, it doesn't have to be just the guy involved in the offense. It could be opposite.
You talked this week about taking a play off and letting someone else talk. When we was talking with Pierre, we was teaching Pierre how to use his voice and the power that's
while conditioning.
While conditioning, because I was conditioning him.
Which is tough.
Which is tough. We're conditioning him. That's what I'm saying. Pierre came in and he stood strong in what I had for him. So I can really give him an evaluation of where he's at. And Rondo talked about talking this possession and then the next possession, another player.
If, like, for me, it was always conditioned. Like, I play with, like I said, so many greats. So with possessions where I let KG do the talking. Next possession is me. Next possession is P. Next possession is Pert. You know what I mean? So it wasn't just, it didn't always have to be, it could have been you, but at times, if you're tired, if you're not, somebody, you might be in the bench.
Yeah.
So it never, the communication never picked up.
Yeah.
And I think I know exactly what the new Celtics are doing nowadays. It's just crazy what they doing. But
would you say with KG coming in your second year kind of helped you become a better leader? Because I always admired what you playing with a Ray Allen, KG, and a Paul Pierce, how you demand their respect in the room, basically. You know, I always saw you talking, always seeing you being that leader. So
we heard him talking.
Yeah, we heard him talking.
You hear him talking.
No doubt. So would you say once KG became your teammate that your leadership went to another level?
Absolutely. I mean, it was a combination of everyone. Even, you know, shout out to Coach Armand Hill. You know, he was the guy that was always, you know, in my ear behind the bench. Sam Cassell, Kevin Garnett, you know, Eddie House, all those guys gave me a little bit of everything. Obviously, Kevin poured into me the most, I believe, just because obviously our chemistry and dynamic on the court together. But he was a hell of a leader. You know, the best guy I've ever seen do it. You know, a person that's disciplined to his craft. He's going to do the same thing every day over and over again. I think Keon Doolin was saying on another podcast, KG is, for me, the first I know to grab the hyperbaric chamber. When we in L.A., he let me sleep in that bad boy, take my naps in there for 2 or 3 hours. So it's like he put me on different things like ice baths, like, you know, 2 or 3 hour massage. Like Kevin would do 8, 9 hours of treatment daily, taking care of his body. So for me, I'm just getting the game. Then he's the one that pushed me into the weight room. So it was like, at first, you know, I'm 2.9% body fat. I meet McDonald's before the game. You know,
so sound like all of us.
I'm just
that's why good veterans are needed, not just veterans.
That's why veterans are
good
needed.
veterans.
That's why veterans are needed. Great veterans. So I had 100%. A lot of great leaderships around me. A lot of great leaders around me. And I was a sponge, man. Like I said, I just wanted to soak up as much as possible.
So as a basketball player from afar, I think most people look at you as like a coach on the floor, right? Like you're directing everything. Like I said, once you watch the game, you can hear you because the microphones pick up that's on the rim. Yeah. You can hear your voice. Yeah. Now, how does that work when it comes to your relationship with coaches? How did it work with your relationship? Because you're very smart, you know what you want, but the coaches know what they want.
Yeah, absolutely.
How did you handle that?
It was, you know, I had my ups and downs throughout my career. I played 16 years, probably about 9 different teams, I think. So, and I probably had about 10, 11 different coaches. So for me, it was trying to have that balance. But I, you know, give kudos to Doc because at first, you know, we bumped heads initially, and I think the reason why we bumped heads was because I felt I was doing enough in practice to get in the games. We lost 18 straight my rookie year, and my agent, shout out to Bibby again, he was always telling me just be cool, cream rise to the top. So I'm like, man, get me out of here. I'm trying to go somewhere. I'm trying to be there too. You ain't got that much long. You don't have much long to prove yourself in the league. You know, I'm on a 20-verse pick, so I said I'm trying to get to it. And like I said, I just got the great advice, it's cream rise to the top. That summer, 7 players got traded. I was fortunate to stay there. So for me, Doc was on me. Yeah, he was on me daily. He was tough on me because he had a similar situation where he played with a lot of greats. And he was the guy that had to distribute the ball, you know what I mean? So I was trying to get game from him, and then they brought in Sam Cassell, who I thought was a threat at first. But they was like, nah, we bring him in to vet you, to teach you, you know, through the ups and downs. How to,
they brought Bimbo Cole in for me.
Yeah.
You stop.
Shut up.
Stop. Don't do that.
Bimbo Cole. No, for real. They brought Bimbo Cole in for me. So yeah, you got Sam Cassell, I got Bimbo Cole. Shout out to Bimbo Cole. Bimbo was on my ass.
Hell yeah, he didn't play.
What?
Yeah.
Man, 94. Yeah. Give me up. No fouls. Shout out to Bimbo Coles.
Right. But now what you said about, like, Doc gave me the keys.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he told the guys, hey, you get the rebound, get him the ball. And y'all take off. So, you know, he elevated me. You know, you're as good as your coach believes in you. And that particular year, those years I was fortunate to play for a coach like Doc, because if I go to Phoenix, where I was drafted at, play behind Nash for a couple years, obviously, I'm not sitting in the seat talking about the same things, most likely.
Yeah,
so, you know,
I forgot till you said that y'all was ass your rookie year.
For sure.
No, I forgot that because you've had so much success.
We were on SportsCenter for the wrong reason all the time. And in my energy back in the day, like I said, you couldn't say a word in my house. We was talking the town the wrong way. Yeah. But I mean, what a difference a year makes.
It make you think about how important personnel is. Because we know how great of a point guard Rondo is. But you can't make chicken salad without chicken.
No, that's fact. You just made that up right now.
Yeah.
Good shit, bro. Good shit. I know you ain't thinking that.
What have you been, though? What have you been?
What you bring that up on the fly, bro?
But it goes back to even looking at like how you orchestrate a team. Like he go from 1 year to where they're on the SportsCenter for the wrong reason. Right. To the next year you bringing in the ticket. You got people coming in that you actually can play with, which really showcases what you really can do.
Yeah. 1,000%. How did you do that? Like, that's hard to go from a team where your voice, you don't have a voice necessarily, you're trying to build it,
right,
to a team where you got obviously Hall of Famers, and now your voice is, I ain't gonna say it's needed because they don't know you yet, they don't respect you yet, but your voice is commanded, and eventually it become the voice that's really needed. How do you do that in year 2?
I think this is my work ethic. You know what I mean? I just showed them, you know, what I was willing to do for the team, for the greater good of the team. You know, and I did it with my play. You know, I did it with my action. It wasn't just words. And then when I did study, or when I came back at night and P's upstairs on the treadmill, they saw me in the gym too. So it was like, Ray show up at 3:30. I'm there at 3:45. Like, so I mean, like I said, I took a little bit from everyone, all the greats I played with, and just implemented in what I want to do. And like I said, that work ethic and that consistency for me, I think just, you know, set the tone, and they were able to, okay, like, here go the keys.
Yeah.
And like I said, Doc did get that little bump. Like, hey, man,
come on now.
He up next now.
Yeah.
Doc get a lot of flack out here.
Yeah, for sure.
Doc get a lot of flack out here. No,
sure
he does.
He does.
And shout out to Doc, man. I love hearing great stories about Doc, because we don't get a chance to always hear these great stories about Doc. They like to pick on Doc for other reasons.
The little stuff.
Shout out to Doc.
But Doc was a point guard too.
He went to Marquette. I just thought I'd throw that out. just in case the audience didn't know. I don't even know if you knew.
Just in case young folks didn't know, you right.
I seen his jersey up on the wall when I was up in Marquette.
All right, okay, shout out.
I seen that.
That's my guy.
But that shows why point guards convert quicker to great coaches.
Yep, no doubt.
Yeah.
In the NBA.
Yeah, you don't want to see no big center over there.
Come on, bro. Throw it on the block. Throw it inside.
I was in Patrick Ewing practices in Georgetown. I wouldn't know what Pat was down there talking about.
Walk it down for the bid.
Let him eat.
Slow it down a little bit.
Could you imagine Shaq as a head coach? He's going to say one thing.
Hey, man, throw the ball inside.
And it's barbecue chicken.
Right.
Y'all
not even giving him a chance.
Yo, Doe, so
I played with Shaq.
You already know.
I played with Shaq.
You played with Shaq.
Hey,
But you ain't play with Shaq. You played with Shaquille.
Yeah.
Okay.
We played with Shaq.
You
played with Shaquille.
You're right about that. You're definitely right about that. Shaq, then, he wasn't caring about nothing. He'd be like, Doe, what's the play? I'm like, Shaq, I got you, big fella. Ready? Go set it. I got you. Shaq was just, he had a hit.
He was just there getting the rest of his money.
Yeah. Loved that. Man.
Shaq was he was still on his deal.
Him and Nate. Oh man, they were fun at camp.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, they were good.
You know what I always thought was killer though with you, and I always tell a lot of the kids this, and a lot of people when you just talk on the game of basketball, the way that you were able to impact the basketball game without scoring a point. You know what I'm saying? You used to do a good job at rebounding, offensive rebounding. Assists and all that stuff. What was the mindset going into games like that, knowing that you can impact a game and win a game for your team without scoring a point?
I just felt that was the gap that we needed, and in particular, with that team, again, I got 3 first ballot Hall of Famers on my team, so they can do that with ease. And for me, it was just obviously keeping everyone happy. And what I tell my young guys, like, the ball gives everyone energy. So it's no need for me to dribble the ball up the court and then shoot the ball, and then I got my wing, Ray, running the lanes 3 or 4 times, ain't touched the ball.
Yeah.
Same thing with Paul. Same thing with Big Perk. Now I give him a bone. So it's like,
tough job.
That's a tough job.
yeah, I mean, and then, like I said, it was fun for me because, like I said, I love to share. You know what I mean? In a sense, so I get when it's like I said, I think Jokic said it. Brian gave me the game. He gave the game the other night. I was recording it. They played the Indiana Pacers. The tip he had the tip in he got, and I'm like, the man had a horrible game, field goal percentage wise, but he impacted the game in so many other ways.
Yeah.
And he stayed with it. It's like he made himself value to stay on the court. And for me, it was like, okay, if I wasn't scoring, how can I stay on the court? Can I take a charge? Can I get a loose ball? Can I dive on the floor first? You know what I mean? Like, if my man went down, can I run over and boost the energy, pull the guy up? So it was just a lot of little intangibles that I pride myself on to, like, let me stand out a different way because it affects basketball. Yeah.
Love that.
Intangible. That's what we talked to Devin about.
Exactly.
Remember when we sat and talked to Devin, his son Devin went to his high school game. We talked to Devin about the intangibles that he brings that nobody on his team really necessarily focuses on.
Right.
And that's the intangibles, all the little things, all the extra effort things, And so we talked about Devin about being that.
Don't stop doing
Don't
it.
stop doing that.
Don't
Being
stop
great
doing
at
that.
that.
Right. Coach gonna put you on the court. I got to play him.
He's
He's gonna make a play.
Yeah, he gonna make a play.
Right,
You
gonna make a
you
play.
said something about Doe, and Doe's talking about it. So I want to lob you up for this. Doe is a point guard, but he's a point guard for a lot of superstars. And you got a lot of players who want to be the actual superstar. You end up being a star in your own right, but you was a point guard for a lot of superstars.
Right.
I know this is a question that you wanted to ask him. I just want to lob it up.
Just me and Doe relationship and studying film and going through each one of the players that he's played with. When I look at it, it takes a special skill set. I'm talking about mental. This is all mental. To understand each player,
1,000%.
understand the needs,
Yeah.
the wants, how they see the game and interpret the game, the communication. You said it earlier.
You said a couple of those players' names just so we know who we play with.
Let's start with you.
Well, I mean, yeah.
Okay.
A version
Hall of Fame. Let's
a
start
version.
here.
All right, but
So let's go back to the ticket. Ray.
Yep.
Pierce.
Yep.
Braun.
Yep. AD.
Boog. Drew Holiday.
Did you get a little Dirk in there? Did you get a little Dirk?
Like Big Dirk, who doing?
Big Dirk. You play with Dirk, right? You got a little Dirk. Dirk.
Big
Another
Dirk.
Susie, you play with Dirk.
You see what I mean?
Superstars, Hall of Famers.
These are Hall of Famers.
I mean, I'm sure it's more.
It's more. Who else? Who did we miss though?
Jermaine O'Neal.
Oh yeah, J.O.
Shout out to J.O.
Black Liberace. That boy got more diamonds than anybody I know.
She Wallace.
Wallace.
My dog.
Right. So a lot of superstars, a lot of Hall of Famers.
Superstars. And so what we want to know so that we could teach the young guys. Because when you look at AAU, when I'm watching the McDonald's All-American game the other day, and a lot of people know how to function on the court with other great players.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And this is something I want my son to learn. Because I keep telling him, you're only as great as everybody around you.
Right.
How were you able to manage that? And like, what was that skill set, that mental skill set to make that connection between each player?
Well, I think for me, I was fortunate because again, when I was in my hometown, Louisville, Kentucky, I played at Eastern. I was kind of the man, you know. I think I averaged like 30 points, 10 to 10 or something like that. But when I went to Oak Hill,
wait, what?
Humble brag.
10 and 10?
yeah, I went crazy. Yeah, my junior year.
Definitely though.
32
But I
to
mean,
10.
again, I wasn't playing. I wasn't playing against the Oak Hill when I went to that schedule. I wasn't playing that type of caliber players.
Right.
So I'm not going.
I don't care.
Yeah, but
You didn't say one game. You said average.
yeah, I did. It was some nice numbers. But like I said, once I got to Oak Hill, I got to play with Josh Smith, Brian Johnson, Deshaun Wright. So those are all All-Americans. So again, I still averaged about 20, but I was, dishing out the ball a lot more because I had talent around me. And it was like, okay, for me to let them shine, it makes him happier. It makes him happy. I don't need to always be me because again, as a point guard, you got the ball the entire time on the court. So I don't have to have the ball. I don't have to shoot the ball. But I love making plays and giving guys energy. Man, that obviously helps our chemistry, our connection. You know what I mean? You can trust me more if I tell you to run through that wall now. You're ready to run through the wall for me. So it's like those things. If I'm with the war with my guys, I got to make sure everybody eat.
So how do you get the ball out of LeBron James' hands?
Yes.
Ooh.
Yes.
When you're on the floor in the bubble.
Having a conversation at times, and then like I said, just letting them know to trust. You know what I mean? Like, because believe it or not, people don't know. Game 5, they didn't play me, and I was pissed. Frank didn't trust me, and I looked at Brian like, damn, bro, I'm the only one that's really been here with you. And then y'all don't play me in the fourth quarter. So, you know what I mean? I went back to the bubble. I was sick. I couldn't sleep. I'm in the mirror looking at myself like, damn, bro, like, what they on? Like, it's go time. Like, get shot tomorrow, you got to get it. You know what I mean? So for me, I got another 2-year deal off that last game. Game 6, I think I had 19 points.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I went crazy in the sense because like I had so much. I was frustrated. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm the only one that's really made in here with you. I think the only one that won a championship besides, I think it might have been just me and Brian. I forgot who else might have won.
On that team, for sure.
Yeah, so it was like, for me not to play in the fourth, like, I don't know what's going on, what I ain't done, but it's go time, and I need to be on the court to make plays because this is what I do, and this is what I do. So before the game, on game 6, you looked at me like before the game, I'm like, bro,
what's up?
I need to be on the court with you in the fourth.
Who you looking at? You looking at Brian?
Cool. Absolutely, yeah.
Absolutely.
I ain't like, no. All of my guys though, but I know. And Brian look over and be like, hey,
you know what I'm here for.
Yeah, he in. So, and like I said, I'm like, he didn't do that for me in game 5, and I felt some type of way. I'm like, oh, well, I got something to prove.
Brian, you know why I'm here.
Yeah, I know why I'm here. But the crazy thing is, I got hurt in the bubble right away.
Yes.
And I fractured my finger, and I went home for a while.
Came back to LA.
Thank goodness. Came back to LA.
We trained.
I'd have to stay in that boat for that long. So I got the best of both worlds in a sense. Trained with my guy while I was out. Like I said, one hand, left hand work.
Yeah.
And like I said, we got to it. But like I said, come back. We pops Houston. We get to the finals, and like I said, Jimmy's going crazy. And we in the film room again. And like I said, Jimmy had like a crazy triple-double. He had like a 40, 10 to 10.
Yeah.
I'm like, Brian, what we doing? And the rest is history. Brian stepped up, took the challenge. He stuck Jimmy that game 6, and then, like I said, they played me, and everybody else was cracking, and we ended up winning.
So was that your challenge to Brian right there? Pretty much when you said that, like, hey.
No. So we in film, and like I said, I think we had tried to put 80 on him, and I think it's when he had the triple-double, the wild triple-double, and I'm like, all right, now I done seen this before. You gotta get a hold of this boy now. Like, he loved playing against you, so like you gonna have to. You know what I mean, that the refs are gonna ref it different.
Right.
You know what I mean, and they were setting the crazy pick and roll angles with all the shooters.
Yes.
So AD had never really went through that before. So he's trying to go under on Jimmy, but Jimmy's at the rim.
Yeah.
He's racing the rim. Jimmy's coming out pump faking. So he hadn't done that because they have to go from a big to train to being a guard. It's different.
It's different.
Especially at that height and that weight. So Brian was like, all right, I got him. Like I said, then we obviously...
I'm going to put my coach's hat on, though. So, in the coaching corner over here, that naked pick and roll.
But when you say naked pick and roll, explain that a little bit.
Right.
Because everybody don't know what you're talking about.
I'm going to let Doe explain.
All right.
That naked pick and roll with you and AD.
But hold on, but again, you got to go back.
Let's go back then.
Doc put that horns action in for me and Kevin on that naked side pick and roll.
Okay.
That's when we was trying to go through the heat with this play.
You know this play.
And that's why I think I hit somebody with it behind the back on this particular play, the naked. But it's like I said,
Y'all better not run that footage. Y'all better not run that footage.
you and UD, I think. Y'all my top 10 now.
That's funny.
But UD, I remember.
But it's the single side pick and roll. The empty side, the corner isn't filled. And then the four, which like I said, would start with me with Kevin getting that chemistry, because he would fake and go up for the lob. So again, everything I learned from Kevin, the full court passes, that was things that we did in Boston. So every time I got with an AD or DeMarcus Cousins, I was like, this is what we're doing. I need to get 3 more assists a game. You need to get 6 more easy points a game.
Well, that's the point guard.
Come on now.
Man.
Come on.
That's the point guard right there. Hey, come and talk to me like that, man. Come and tell me I need to get 6 more points a game. I need to get 3 more assists. You know how hard I'm running?
Listen, but it was, for me, that's why I think it was easy for me to okay, I knew what you guys wanted in the sense the greatest players. So I'm like, if you're shooting 42%, when you get with me, I'm trying to get you to shoot 45%. You know what I mean? If you if you only shoot 8 free throws a game, let's get it to 12. So in a penalty situation, I knew what players to call for P right away. He would get the cut. He would cut and get the ball and get to the free throw line without even touching the ball. Yep. But it was just his play. I mean, there's a lot of people that do manipulate the game that way in great fashion. But we were doing that for a long time, and it was just, like I said, it's what I took pride in. I was like, okay, let me make your job easy. But let me say one thing. The guy I love watching the most, though, all my superstars, was when I was with Sacramento with DeMarcus Cousins.
Oh, man.
Okay.
Cuz so nice.
Shout out to Bud. Bud was a bad boy.
And what I did was, like I said, I would stay up, have a glass of wine, and spend about 3 hours watching film. And the first time I watch it, I'm watching myself. And the second time I'm watching whoever superstar I'm playing with, I would watch them, all their movements, again, to see how I can make their job easier, where they like the ball, where they struggle from. So it's like I was looking at those. But also, like I said, there's so many things I saw with Cuz when I'm watching his film back, I would just laugh because he was very dominant. And people would go the other way. People were getting foul trouble purposely just not to check him. So he was really animal in the sense. I'm pissed that we didn't make the playoffs this year because I wanted to showcase his talent, what he could do to the world. Because you don't really get your knock or your nod until you go crazy in the playoffs.
Yep, true that.
And for him, he had never really been. I'm like, that's the one thing I wish if I could do it again. We had a hell of a season, but I was like, I wish we could have found somebody to get into that playoffs because he was unstoppable.
Yeah, all right, before you ask your question about Sacramento, because I remember watching when you went there. I felt like as a fan, we watched your whole career, but I feel like that was the most fun you had playing the game of basketball.
Listen, I'm going to tell you why. It was crazy. Dude came out of the book and said, I'm playing no defense. But I was like, we never talked about defense the whole goddamn year. But what I loved about Sacramento is I called every play. So I was able to manipulate the game. It was so much fun to be like, okay, this counter, let me make this counter. So, okay, Cuz, you need a bucket. Okay, let's go to spin out lob. It was easy. Rudy need a bucket. Omar Caspi, let's get with it. Bellinelli come off a shoot around.
He was controlling it all day.
I loved it. I ran
just came from Dallas.
Just came from Dallas. They tried to take me out the league.
They tried to take him out.
I was able to move a little bit, come back, lead the league in assists that year with Sacramento. And like I said, revamp my career to a sense to where, like I said, it was respectable in the sense that people still wanted me. Teams were interested in what I could bring to the team. But that was one of my best years. Like I said, just having fun. I was living in Sacramento, California for the first time, so I was waking up every day with shorts on, no reason to be angry. You know what I mean? It was good weather. Just go outside, and like I said, it was a great vibe. And then my chef was helping me, grow at the crib. So it was an amazing time.
I think that was the time as a fan of the game where I really noticed, because when you're with the big three is one thing, and we know that's hard, but it's from the naked eye, you're like, oh, okay, it's easy to play with those guys.
Yeah.
But when you went to SAC and the way you constructed that whole thing, I was like, oh, this, okay.
I still had weapons, though. That's how I looked at it. I'm like,
you did. But
give me some talent. Like I said, it wasn't the first ballot because they were all young. You know, it was Rudy and DeMarcus. Those were the two I was trying to get, together. But it was a fun challenge for me. It's like, man, I still got some bad motherfuckers on my wings, my left and right. So I can manipulate the game and how Cuz destroyed and dominated and Rudy's athleticism, the way he would turn it on. Like, I feel like I had weapons and I feel like we could have gotten a lot further, but we had a lot of turmoil, inside the locker room throughout the year that it wasn't great for us. And again, like I said, we never talked about defense. So,
what we talking about?
Yeah, we couldn't get a stop.
No, I was gonna say a comment back then, a few subjects ago. The reason why I'm sitting here too is because of this man. Me being able to come out of high school.
Yes, sir.
Nobody knew who the hell I was. I was green. I came last. I was like the last one added on. I ain't even had the same gear as everybody. And throughout the whole practices, and this is when I declared for the draft.
That's when you went to the yes, sir. That's when you went to the draft.
Yeah,
yes, sir.
So if y'all don't know, I was the leading scorer in that game. I didn't get MVP. They gave it to Dwight because we didn't win.
Right.
And that whole week though, just playing with Rondo, dog, just lobs. You know me, I used to be a gazelle.
Right.
Throwing that shit right perfect every single time, and he made me look good. So I'd never forget that. And then we came to the game, and it's kind of went out about my welcome party.
Yes, sir.
So yeah, just
I like that. I didn't know that. You ain't never said that about that.
He held that one.
He for sure. He came out of nowhere.
Yeah, nowhere. Nobody knew who I was.
Because you wasn't McDonald.
Know who was when you got drafted.
He wasn't McDonald, so everybody at the McDonald game, you know each other. And then J.I. did the same thing. J.I. was like, if I crack today, I'm going to the league.
Right.
Niggas like, whatever, man. Step before step, he was going from crazy when he won that game. He won MVP.
Yeah, I remember watching that game. But when they drafted you, I was like, oh my God.
Who is this motherfucker?
What are we doing? What are we doing?
Who is this?
What are we taking? Who is this young? Where's Jameer Nelson? Why we didn't get Jameer?
Miami Heat fans was mad as hell.
We took DJ over Jameer Nelson.
Because they went 30, they went 39
but at first I'm like,
1.
Yeah, who this young pup? Yeah.
From where? This is crazy, Pat.
To this day, when he see me, he always be like, I wanted you. That's why I drafted you.
Well, obviously.
For a fact. That's my guy, man. Come on,
with that big ass suit. I'm like, this.
But that's how I got cracking, though, at the Jordan game. Practice all week and then the game. That's kind of how
He was lucky to play with Doe.
Hell yeah.
Somebody that's willing to pass the ball.
Yeah, exactly.
I just watched the game and I was like, oh, dude's not passing the rock.
All right, facts.
And it just
right.
It don't even. It's like I got to get mine right now because
not today.
Yeah, and that's over.
They can't put that on their highlight reel. They can't put that on their film. They're gonna cut out and put on social. If it ain't buckets, they ain't got nothing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I remember, but I didn't think about it. Okay, I appreciate it. Yeah,
shout out.
Got cracking there, man.
One thing that's going back to your career and going back to Boston, real quick. No, know what? Before we go to Boston, real quick, the bubble championship. Since we talked about the bubble, a lot of people like to shit on the bubble championship. Can you please talk about how difficult it was, or we don't know. I wasn't there. What was the challenge at a bubble that was different than you won 2 championships? You won one in the full season, then you won one in the bubble. Talk about the difference of winning the championship in the bubble versus the regular one that everybody think you should win.
In the bubble, it's really like kind of on some street ball in a sense. It's like, you put your best 5 out there, I put my best 5 out there. There's no other distractions on the court, off the court, when you're not playing, when you are playing, there's no family there. It's just straight hoop. And for me, again, what I loved about it is like, you might go to your hotel room and see the guy you just played against. You might be eating breakfast, you know what I mean? 2 seats across from me. So it was really like on some, like, for me, like on some gangster shit as far as like, when I see you, nigga, it's what's up, like check ball. So that's for me, that competitive nature that you bring out in that kind of, form that we were in, the setting. And it was like, again, like your film room was right across from my film room. So I'm going to see you. So again, if I'm busting your ass this series, you got to see me too in the hallways. You might get on the elevator with me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But so for me, it was fun. Like I said, there was no distraction. The terrible part, I was like I said, it was the food. It wasn't the best. Obviously, you eat damn near the same thing every day. They did the best they could possibly do. But for me, again, I said, I left. I got injured,
Right, so you got to clear your mind.
So I didn't have to do it. I didn't do as much time as other guys did.
It was a mental...
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. The small rooms that you're in, you're going back to every night. Like, you're not going back to your family. You're going back to a small room that you're not really accustomed to.
Yeah.
It's kind of like lights out at a certain time.
Yeah. You're not going to none of your comforts.
No
comforts.
We go to our
comforts a lot.
No comforts,
but when
no
you
chefs.
think about that, that lets you know right away who loves basketball or
You got to
not.
be different.
I'm telling you, because the way Miami runs their organization, I knew that they would get there.
For sure.
Oh, that was
And I know
They
Jimmy.
were built for
That's
it.
And I know
perfect.
Jimmy. So Jimmy don't need a lot. Jimmy can focus.
Yeah.
And then you take
Jimmy can focus
this
on
dude-
white rice and broccoli.
That's it. You take this guy and you take
Savage.
Braun, they can focus.
Yeah.
And it was so much fun doing that experience because, again, it was like, mano to mano, and then, like, who can make the quick adjustments? There's no other outside distractions. It's right now, when you come out of that film room, who's a step ahead? And for us, obviously, we were always a step ahead.
Yeah.
And that was the key for our success.
Yeah, stop shitting on the bubble championship, everybody. Matter of fact, don't shit on no championships.
Right. What
Especially
are we
if you
doing?
never won one. That's how hard it is.
That part.
That part. Let's go to Boston real quick. And you won, obviously, it was 07-08 you guys won your championship. One of the greatest championships we've ever seen because y'all did it so quickly.
Right,
One
the
year.
turnaround,
No one else, I don't think no one has done that before. 1 year, coming together, winning a championship. And I'm sure you've talked about that. But one thing we wanted to know was the dual perspective of this year's team right now. So they just won a championship the previous year, and now they're trying to come back and do it again.
Right.
You guys won a championship, then y'all went to the finals the next year against the Lakers. Talk about that year, though, for you guys. Coming off winning, what was the mentality? What was the mindset? How difficult was it to get back to the championship to defend defend what y'all did the year before? Because this team is obviously going through that right now, right?
Correct. Yeah, but see, we got back 2 years later.
So you're
We
2
got
years out
by
there.
Orlando. We had an injury. KG tore his knee up. And then we got beat by Orlando. They went and played Kobe.
Okay.
And
Yeah, I
then
remember
we
that year.
rolled
The
Yeah,
Dwight year with Jameer Nelson.
Yeah, okay.
Jameer Nelson
Yeah.
and that
I
group.
remember that
So we
final.
lost to them, yeah.
That was Dwight's final. Shout out, my bad, Dwight.
My bad, Dwight.
Shout out Dwight Howard.
Hall of Fame.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
HOF for
Shout
sure.
out.
One person
That
don't
shouldn't
get
even be a question.
the respect and the love that he deserves.
That part.
Dwight
I agree.
Howard.
Dwight Howard.
I agree.
But the challenge of this team, right?
Yeah.
They're not young no more. They've been around for a while, but in age, they're 25, 26.
Right.
To try to go back to the finals, obviously trying to win it again. But what's the mental challenge that you had of winning the finals and then now having to try to do it again?
Getting bored with the process, going through the regular season, knowing when you can hit a button and then, go from 0 to, 1,000 if you need to, because you've been through all the trials and testimonies as far as, defensive schemes, guys getting hot, being able to bounce back, lose a game, come back, and beat a team by 30. So this keeping the game, in a space to where you're challenging yourself and not getting bored with the process. But this team, they for one, they got a great leader. Joe's a hell of a coach. I got to spend some time with him at training camp.
Joe is a great
He's
coach.
a monster, and it shows in the way they play the game. And I tell my young kids today, like, if you don't watch any team, watch the Celtics play.
Yeah.
I mean, the way they play unselfishly, the way they play for one another. They don't even. I'm watching those guys switch without even looking like they talking or saying a word. And I'm watching teams talk and switch and communicate, and they still mess it up. So it's like, man, it's beautiful to watch them play. They play the game the right way, and it's fun to watch them play. That's why they're destroying and running through the league. So I think a big part is also their health as well.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Got to
any
stay
championship
healthy.
run. They got to stay healthy. Takes the man above to bless them with that aspect, but their ego, their character, personality that they have in their locker room, I don't see it ever being to a point where it's me mentality. You got a guy like Horford, OG vet and Horford, Drew Holiday. You got the two young pups, but they're not really young. I mean, they have so much experience of being in the finals, conference finals with Jaylen Brown and Tatum. So, Derek White, and then like I said again, their role players are stars in their roles, and that's what people don't really realize. What it takes is like we talk about the big three in Boston, but we had a lot of other guys that didn't deviate from their role, and they were stars in their role, and they were okay with that. And a lot of teams don't have players that are willing to sacrifice for the greater good of the team, and it destroys the team.
Yeah.
And I hate watching it on film.
I said one of the worst things that maybe happened to the league this year is that Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown got that. They finally got it after being there so many years. And one of the worst things that happened to the league is that Jason Tatum was kind of shitted on a little bit.
Yep.
A whole lot of it.
Depending on what.
A
A whole lot of it.
A lot of it.
That's normally when you win the championship.
Right.
It's like, okay, flowers, everything's great. Now I can relax, put my hair down. And he wasn't granted that.
Right.
And so he coming back with a chip.
Absolutely.
And that's tough with a guy who knows how to win, that's done it before, who has a chip on his shoulder.
They ain't got the right soldiers behind him.
Yeah, no doubt.
Good luck.
They got a squad.
Good
Good
luck.
luck.
Yeah.
And a good coach.
Yeah.
Great coach.
No, great.
I'm gonna
And
say
Sam's
great.
by the way,
Shout out to
Sam
Moji.
is on the
Sam, I
bench.
am.
He's there. Sam,
I got my shot fake from Sam, by the way.
Oh yeah, a lot of us.
What stole it?
Let me get that.
What? I went to one of their practices in Milwaukee. I was like,
I like that.
no, I like that. He put that in my game.
Right.
Shout out to Sam Good. I got my shot fake from him for sure.
Yes, sir.
You know, though, watching you grow and go from a player to coach, you're a defensive coach. But most people don't know that Tom Thibodeau was your defensive coach on those Boston.
Shout out to Tibbs.
Yeah, shout out to Tibbs.
So when you're looking at your tutelage, your teachers, when people are looking at why you should be a head coach, they got to go really look at who mentored you and taught you the game. And Thibodeau is
T-Lou, that's a real one.
T-Lou.
Had a staff.
I mean, like they brung the right, shout out to Danny Ainge, man. Danny Ainge brought the right people in.
Shout out to Danny.
Brought the right people in. Again, just to support me, like I said, raising the village, just the right people around me that I loved, listen to and respect at a high level.
Yep.
And genuinely gave me the game. Because again, a lot of people, when you have a player like yourself or myself, as far as, they can be intimidating or you don't want to give them the game or it comes off as, oh, he thinks you know it all. But, it's not coming from a humble place that whatever's for the greater good of the team, that's what we're trying to bring to the game.
So what type of coach are you, man? I would love to know that. What type of coach are you? I know you're dealing with 7th graders that's playing at an elite level, but what type of approach do you take to the game? Like, how do you motivate your players to do what you need them to do?
By showing them to trust me. By gaining their trust first and foremost, understanding that I care. I would love, like I said, for me, I want to have a great relationship with all my players, not just the stars, but just understanding, that they are men on and off the court. And I've gone through a lot of situations in my life that I can obviously be a mentor to that aspect of it. But most importantly, being a sponge and understanding everything I'm teaching you is for the greater good of the team. It's never no ego, never no emotion about, what I'm doing or how I'm trying to correct you. Just be a willing listener and let's go from there. And I'm going to do the same. I'm going to give you the same respect. If it's some shit you need to talk to me about, pull me in the office. You better watch the film so we understand we'll be on the same page because I'm going to watch it.
You better watch the film.
Through my experience of what I won't do though is when a player does come to me, is coming there with my guns up. Yeah. Because a coach did that. A coach did that to me. Mm-hmm. And when they did that to me, it threw me off guard. And I actually came in with one of the team therapists just so I had somebody to kind of, witness what I was going through because I didn't know how the dynamic was going to be. So I called the coach one day and I was like, let's want to come in and talk about the team because I didn't go with the team. I think I stayed the night before, but I had watched the film, wrote my notes down. Let's figure out, like you said earlier, about being on the same page as a coach. Mm-hmm. That's how I came to the meeting, but he came out with guns blazing. And it kind of threw me off, and I was like, it kind of turned me off, and it was, the rest is history. But like I said, having that experience for me as a coach, when I do get that position, it's like to never come up or come out thinking that you're attacking the player because obviously you want to be on the same page. And if you look good, I win. You know what I mean? So it's never gonna be a friction to where I'm gonna do some wild shit and it's my ego or I don't like the way you said something to me. Like, nah, if it's working for the team and it's at a respectful level. And we're keeping that relationship cordial, then that's what it is.
Yeah.
That's dope.
How are you enjoying that Milwaukee process right now? Like, we see you show up on the sideline.
Oh, man, the league done called me.
Oh, really?
Man, what? League? Hey, Doe cannot be on the sideline. Okay, y'all got it. Okay.
Yeah, DeLon told me.
That's over with. But,
I did. Having you around.
I loved it. Just being around the players again, Doc invited me to training camp. Actually, Doc came to my wedding this past summer, and he put me in the headlock. Was like, look, get your ass out to Milwaukee with me. I said, all right, you got it. So
your budget on that wedding, boy. We talk about that later. Well, I saw the video. I said, ooh,
didn't you go far?
Well, they spent some money.
I seen Smooth posting everything.
That's what you retire to do, man.
There you go.
So dope. He has the funniest story in the world when you guys were teammates in Chicago. And I'll let D talk about it with you, D, Fred, and Jimmy.
Oh, I talked about it on the show. Oh, yeah.
But I want to see Doe's perspective.
Yeah.
That.
So I shared with them once we got to the playoffs. Right. I shared on the show about the first 2 games when we was up 2-0 in Boston and how we got to that point.
Okay.
But I shared with them how game 1, obviously, it was Jimmy Butler's game. And how, at that point, you kind of became the leader of in the regular season, it was kind of Jimmy's team.
Yeah, but we got to take it back, though, man. I feel some type of way about that year.
No, we didn't. No, we feel a lot of way about that year. We feel a lot of way about that year.
started.
Nah, man,
Don't get him
the
started.
Bulls benched me that year, man.
They did.
Man, I'm in
You were in
Chicago.
Starline, I remember that, yeah.
I'm in all parts of Chicago, man. So much love, man. I was going playing
Get to your back.
150s. I was all over the city, west side. I mean, north side, south side.
Love in Chicago, by the way.
Man.
Shout out to
Shout out
Chicago.
to Chicago,
So
man.
vibe.
I was playing 150 to stay in shape during that particular time. And like I said, Chicago benched me. They brought in other point guards. They started young point guards over me. At this time, they paying me the most money in my career. So I'm like,
That's crazy.
what are we doing?
Right.
Whatever. Sit it out. Like I said, again, creams rise to the top. I stay with it. I stay working on my craft. Eventually I get my time. Then we get to the playoffs.
Yeah.
I'm back.
I'm back. Let's go.
So again, game one, Jimmy go crazy. We in the hotel. We in with the
But
Four
don't,
Seasons.
not Jimmy. Jimmy went crazy, but you made sure Jimmy went crazy
Made
as well.
sure.
Okay, appreciate
Like,
that.
I talked about what I talked about is the when I saw what I heard about.
Right.
I've always heard about Rondo. Yeah. I've always heard about the leader, the director, all these things. And I didn't see it until necessarily the playoffs when you was like, all right, Jimmy.
We stayed back after the film.
After film.
We stayed back after the film. Game one, we stayed back after the film.
Y'all mind if I, share a little bit with y'all a little bit? I think I see.
What I see.
And for me, like I said, I was playing the game against Fred versus Isaiah Thomas. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't, for me, it wasn't a point guard matchup. Me, I'm playing against, not Fred, Brad Stevens.
Brad Stevens.
Yep. And, so I was like, okay, I studied Brad. I studied his, his ATOs, his, how he adjusted from one playoff to the next game back when they played the Sixers year before. So I was trying to play and understand what he wanted to do, what his attacks would be, and his counters would be game 2 and 3. So after that first, I think film session we had, I was like, D and Jimmy, stay back. I want to put in a different type of offense for y'all.
Oh, damn, that's a bar.
They won't they won't really be prepared for this. Okay. They haven't seen this. We
I
haven't
need y'all
done
to
this.
understand what he just said. Yeah. After the film session with the team, hey, D and Jimmy, stay back. We put in a different offensive set for me and Jimmy.
But the way you told it was like,
well, this is game 2. All right, this is game 1 we talking about. We talking about game 2.
Talking about game 2.
But for them to do that, like I said, you can't just do it with anybody. You have to have two great minds. And for them, they were able to, on the day of shoot around morning, take some more things. Okay, let me the different style versus what all the schemes we just went through. Now, okay, we can scratch that or keep it. In this case, we need it, but
scratch it.
What are you talking about? And we were able to, like I said, we had some success with it.
That's good. Yo, I like you being real diplomatic right here. We had some success with it. Scratch it. One was like, yeah. All right. So this is what we gonna do.
It benefited you all more than what a particular time that he put in. And it wasn't, it wasn't no ego thing. It was, I tried to do it. Like I said, I could have did it in front of the team, but it was like, nah, there's no need for that.
Yeah.
These two guys make the engine run, and we're gonna go as they go. So for me, it was making their job a lot easier because if they do the same shit we've been doing, then now they ready to get trapped off these pick and rolls, or now Brad's made an adjustment to where they can slow them down. He can't make an adjustment on the fly that quickly when it's in the fourth quarter when it's the first time you see it.
Yep, no doubt. What was the set? What was the play?
That's one of my
kids you gotta soak this game up because kids today don't understand how to take a game plan, think through a game plan, and get with the team and execute what really works.
Yeah.
They turned the ball over. Got jumping. He said, man, this guy jumping. Now they sitting on the bench and they in their head.
They're not watching the game.
Robots.
He's
robots.
He's broken down. He said his battle was not Brad Stevens. That's the coach. He broke down the coach.
That's killer.
He said that about when him and Bron won the championship.
Correct.
So
he was like, me and Bron are not playing against Miami Heat.
No, you're playing against Spo.
He was playing against Spo.
Yeah, that's a whole different
That's
mentality.
what I'm saying. I'm just trying to get the kids.
once we go through game 1, and because he did this in game 1, I'm like, all right. Well, I never saw this. I've had Bron, and it's a whole different story with how Bron does it. But when he did this, I was like, all right, well, it's Jimmy's team at this time, so let's see. Jimmy come out have an amazing game for us, right? So everything worked. So I'm like, well, you know what he's talking about. So then we go to game 2. And now, so I think going back, I had just came back off injury to come to the playoffs. Zach Randolph's caught me in one of them lockups and snapped my whole elbow. So I came back a little early.
Yeah, because we're gonna talk about
damn,
we're gonna talk about that.
Deja vu. Deja vu. What does it sound like? Yeah, nigga. Yeah. What'd you get?
Yeah, I've been there before.
Yeah, I've been here before. You all right?
Shit don't feel good, huh?
Where the doc at? They got me together. I need you now, Doc. Come on back. We need him.
So I'm trying to get my confidence back, and we get into the playoffs. And I have a great game one, and I have my confidence. And so we go to game 2 after winning on the road. Game 1 versus AC. I mean, we AC versus number 1 seed on the road.
Right.
So we go in, and now we have a film session in the in the ballroom. So we go through, Fred go through his whole game plan, get everybody excited and shit. He like, good, everybody bring it in. We bring it in, Rondo like, D-Wade, Jimmy. Let's go to the board. So now we go back to the board, right? Game 2. And Fred stays this time. Fred stays in the actual room. Rondo on the board telling us, he said, all right, Jimmy, they're going to be expecting this. D-Wade is your game. So now, I've already had a lot of success. I'm a great player, all that. But like at this time, I'm 35 years old. I'm struggling. I ain't what I used to be. And at that moment, he's like, it's your game. I'm like, oh, shit. It was the confidence from saying, this tonight's your night. This is what we going to do for you because they're not expecting you. And so, man, Nick, I couldn't even sleep. I was in my room like, can't wait. I can't wait because Fred wasn't putting in that game plan to say, all right, D-Wade, you're going to. It was a team game plan. Yeah. Rondo was like, scratch all that. We going to do this.
You have something that they can't fuck with. So now it's your turn to go crazy.
Ooh, boy, I couldn't wait to play
that game. They had nobody to match up with you. Like they put that guy on Jimmy. Okay, now who gonna check him?
Right.
The second, third option?
No.
That's
He went crazy.
We went crazy. Now we go up. Now I go crazy. Now we go up 2-0. And I'm like, all right, well, first of all, I call back to the homies. I'm like, yeah, Rondo, yeah. Yeah, he like that. Yeah, he all right. He like that. You know what I mean? I ain't want to give him his props before that. I'm like, yeah, he like that. And I told everybody, just that moment, and just to tell you, like, just even in that moment, as my career was winding down, in a sense, I was still good enough, but I wasn't great like I used to, like I once was. But to be in that moment and like to have you look at me and say, I know what you can do, and we're going to put you in the best position to do that. And I think that's the thing that a lot of people don't do. They don't put you in your best position and where you at now. Right. And to put me in my best position and run no offense and run no sets and like have that, I was like, he's been thinking about me.
Yeah. That goes back to what I tell you. Like when I watch the games of all my great players I play with, it's like, okay, where do they have success at? Where are they great at? Okay, D-Wade may not be, at the top of the key straight ISO. And let's put him at the elbow to where now if the trap comes, it's one dribble, or he backs down one time, then he gets a shot, or a pump fake. Like, and he's a playmaker. So I'm like, let me put him in this particular spot, and now he on the work as hard, and they're not ready for this type of offense.
Though I got a fly on the wall moment. So me and Doe, we go to the Garden that night. Remember, we roll in to work out.
Okay.
We work out on the wood. Like, you knew everybody in the Garden. So everybody's speaking to him, all the workers and everything. And you can just see his brain as we going through.
That's home though. That's that's the crib.
That's the crib.
Yeah,
but people don't know how much work that is actually put in. So not only were you putting in
for a guy like me,
for a guy like you,
I was overachiever. Like I had to work. I had to put the effort in. I had to work when no one was looking. And again, I was 6'1".
We got there at 11 p.m. at night. So though, like, you ready? Yeah, we ready. Let's go. We we moving through Boston. We get on we're in the Garden. And you could just see his brain.
You see his brain moving, visualizing.
Working on all of his touch-ups, his shots, where he was going to get the shots from, passing. So me and Doe would go through each area that you guys would get the ball. We work on passing. We work on throwing hook passes across the baseline like we were working with Pierre the other day, on throwing it where the ball can go out of bounds and spin back in and hit him in his hand. That's the detail.
I'm glad you said that. That's amazing.
That's a detail,
because a lot of people, and I tell people this all the time, before every game, I visualize everything I thought that I wanted to do. Like I saw the game play out before the game actually played. Like that was my pregame. Like leading up to a video, this and that. But before the game, I sat in the locker room, I closed my eyes and I visualized what I wanted to bring to the game, what I wanted to do to the game, all these things. And so that's the same thing. You visualizing what is ball gonna go, what is pass gonna go. Okay, he like it here, where he cutting. Like that visualization is important.
Manifestation. I would do this the night before the games. So if it was a game I had to go crazy, and I was trying to go to sleep and thinking about what I was gonna do, trying to wake up thinking about like how I can impact the game somehow, some way. They shoot around that morning, we locked in. And again, shout out to Kevin. He went through shoot around like it was a game.
Sound like Zoe.
He set the tone.
Oh my God.
Sound like Big Zoe. Sweating, full sweat.
Yeah, all this full sweat, like locked in, ain't really doing a whole lot of goofing around. Like he's locked into the detail. It was me that was playing around at 20 years old, getting in trouble. Like, you know what I mean? But other than that,
Sound like D-Wright. Terrible rook. He's a terrible rook.
Hey, but before you go, I really think that's what's wrong with this new generation of kids. They have no imagination. We grew up in our driveway at the park, imitating last-second shots and things like that.
Crates,
yeah, so they don't have that imagination that we had. We wanted to have those moments where we had the ball in our hand at the last second. Now these kids are so robotic, way more skilled than us, and I know you know because you see them.
Yeah. Well, he's a part of it.
No.
You're
building robots. Let me find the camera.
Part of it.
Let me find the camera. So for me, here's my coach's hat. When I'm developing players, the one thing that I like to do is to educate the mind. It's not about me, it's about them. So when developing them, the more that they can master, the more that they're in the gym, the more creativity that they can have. Mm-hmm. I look at it as like your access card, right? Mm-hmm. I look at it 5 steps. Your first step is punching the bag. Like if I'm going to be a boxer, the first thing I'm going to do is go in, I'm going to learn to jump rope. For footwork, I'm going to learn to punch the bag and what the movement is. Mm-hmm. Most guys that are out here training these players only stop at that level. Level 1 of punching the bags. They got the cones out. It's the same punching the bag. So you become robotic, you get movement, but you don't know how to apply it. Mm-hmm. Level 2, level 2 of it, I'm just dropping game and you guys can steal it, it don't matter. Level 2 now is what we implement, and I'm using boxing. How important is your corner shadow boxer, your coach? He's important because he's teaching you rhythm. He's teaching you how to protect yourself. He's teaching you movement, how to actually use your body. Well, in our system, that's what we're doing. We're teaching body movement with a shadow and how to shadow box.
I don't give him too.
Okay, I'll stop there. I was about to keep going with that.
Don't give the whole system up.
Hey, I mean, they stealing my stuff anyway. They just don't give credit.
No, but that's a great point. And I say that even like my daughter, she's 6 years old, and when I put her on the court right now, I give her time to just go be free.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, this ain't no drill right now. We about to go out here, and I'm about to do some stupid stuff. Just try anything.
Yeah, no doubt.
Have imagination. Be creative. Visualize something. And you know what I mean? Because, we can dribble right, left, go here, go there. But I want you to be so free in your mind and your creativity that you feel you can accomplish and do anything out here. Right. And that's a lot of stuff that you said is missing.
Dang, it's missing.
You got to, man. Got to get that wiggle, man.
Yeah, you got to get that wiggle.
Go hoop.
All right, though. So we brought it up. Elbow. This is the name of this episode right here. This portion we call elbow. So I forgot all about that. I didn't even think about the fact that you were on the team when my elbow got fucked
dirty. You was a dirty player.
Why you wait? First of all, why you pointing at me like that?
You sitting to my left.
Words. Don't point at me like that.
I don't want to fight.
Time out, nigga. I get up and whoop your ass. Don't you point at me like that? Don't point at me like that. Time out.
He dirty, though.
No. Let me finish the question, though. Why you...
You dirty. I'm just thinking about how you dislocated it.
So, first of all...
You smack cold. I'm just thinking about all the dirty moments.
Right.
Why is that dirty? You know how I grew up? You know where I'm from?
Chicago.
I think people see the suits and the legs crossed and the nails painted, they think, you don't understand. They don't understand. You know what I mean? But going back to elbow, so we talking about elbow. One of the most controversial moments probably in my life, because that did start he's dirty. I was actually liked before that. And then after that, it was like, you're dirty. I go places. I'm like, what the fuck you talking to? Did you visualize whipping my ass? Did you want to fight after that?
I think my peoples gassed me up. they kind of talked me like, man, that nigga, I was a bullshit ass player. I'm like, because in the moment, again, like I said, we compete, and I didn't see it, and then again, I was just so trying to get right back to playing. I didn't look at it as okay, cool, But I got up and it was able to snap back in. So at that moment, I didn't really think it was a dirty play. But when again, people got on the phone like, man, we on the way. I'm like, bruh. Chill, what we talking about? Like, you can't touch this, man. Like, we ain't on nothing.
We on the way, it's crazy.
So, and they like, man, that's, they trying to gas me up, but I'm like, again, I'm trying to win a playoff series. Yep. It wasn't really to that effect to where I thought that was a particularly dirty play. Looking back, if you watch it, the slow-mo.
Yeah, give me a POV, because I got a POV. And I think this is important, because we're two players on one play.
Right.
And we got two different POVs of what and why. Give me your POV, then I give you mine.
I thought obviously you could have felt differently. I don't think you technically tried to, DDT my elbow, but plays happen. Shit, I don't.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like it was a grudge again. It made me want to go at you even harder, in a sense. But it wasn't like, I'm trying to start a fight with you every time, but it was always up when we played y'all, because that's just it was just a rival itself.
It was always up.
Yeah, it wasn't. It was before that play.
Yeah, way before that. I think that's the reason, because it was always up before that.
Yeah.
And one thing that I wrote, competing on the board is because we competed.
Right.
When Boston and Miami got everything, it don't matter. The game plan that Doc spoke, that don't matter.
It don't matter.
It's motto and motto. And one thing I respect about Doe is we look each other in the eye like, nigga, I'm about to go get this now. I'm about to go get this now. Fuck you. No, fuck. Like, we would have those conversations, like looking at each other. Ref come and break us up and shit. Competition. Like, you in my way, I'm in your way. Right. I'm trying to get somewhere. Fuck you. Fuck you. Let's hoop.
Let's go, yeah.
So now let me go to my POV.
All right.
So, we didn't have the best relationship. We shouldn't have. We weren't teammates. And so I think the play, if I remember, I think you tapped the ball away. I think the ball was loose for a minute or whatever the case may be. And what I felt on my POV is you grabbed me. And so I was like, oh, this trying, okay. So he grabbed me and I'm off balance. When he grabbed me, I feel like I was off, because the ball is loose and we're going for the ball. We about to go run for it. And then I feel like Rondo grabbed me, so I'm like, oh shit, I'm gonna lock him up too as he grabbed me. And now we all balance. And I'm like, well, shit, we both falling. This is just a fall type thing. I'm like, we both going down then.
Right.
You know what I mean? He ain't getting to that ball if I ain't getting to it. So we both fall. And obviously, what you do is you try to brace yourself. Don't try to go back and brace yourself. And I remember at the moment, because in my mind, I was like, both going down. Fuck it. We'll trip each other, scrap down here, but we both going down. You ain't getting to that fucking rock. And then I remember the moment when I looked back and I saw your elbow. Actually, like, I never seen that before in my life. And I was just like, oh shit. I couldn't even play basketball for the rest of the game, because I just saw something that was like, it was fucked up. But what was more crazy is that you came back and finished the game.
Hell yeah.
That messed me up mentally. I was like, because I thought I was like, oh, he done.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, like, he done. I'm like, damn, he done. And then he came out the locker room. I'm like, what is wrong with this man? No, real shit. I was like, what is wrong with him? Like, I saw his elbow the other way.
Adrenaline.
Yeah,
they try to shoot me up there. I'm like, nah. I'm like, let's just do it. Like, let's go. Because I was
came right back.
I was ready to go. I had time to go through a sit there, feel sorry myself, or let it, let the pain start to. No, I was like, let's go get it. I'm going. We need to win this game. Everything else, we need to win this game in particular.
That's different.
Different.
Bro, I ain't gonna lie. I had so much more respect. I couldn't tell you that.
Yeah.
We still have some. But when you came back, because when I look back and I saw that. We don't play it like even when I broke Kobe nose in All-Star games because I'm dirty. Kobe was fucking me up on the other end. Yeah. I told y'all this.
Yeah.
And I was like, Kobe, all right. No, I ain't trying to break, but I'm about to hit you back.
Yeah.
All right. This is a game I grew up playing. I grew up in the hood.
Let them know
you hit me, I'm hitting you back.
No, for sure.
And so, but when I saw it, first of all, it was, even though we had competition versus each other, we never really spoke. It wasn't our job to speak to each other.
Game was different back then.
It wasn't our job to speak.
Jump ball, man. It wasn't no. A bunch of hee and ha-has and hey, how you been? Nah, man. Your summer. It's on. Check ball. Nigga, it's on. Ain't no catching up, right? It's on. Yeah,
so we're different. Like,
that's how it was.
I'm quiet. He quiet. He might sit on his face a little more. But we both competitors and we both trying to win. So we ain't have a friendly relationship, but it wasn't about friendly relationship. It was about you trying to get a championship, I'm trying to get one. We both had teams that can win when we was competing. But when I saw that, obviously I felt bad because I'm like, damn.
Right.
How do you try to do that? Like, people think you try to do things like that. That is, you can't, well, I don't know, but I don't know how to do that. But when I saw that, then I saw your ass run out that locker room. A couple minutes later, I was like, this is crazy.
Yeah, he different. He different.
No,
I'm trying to get it.
Spo looked at me, I said, well, I don't know. I don't know now. This is hold on. But the adrenaline, like, did you feel pain? Was it numb? Was it?
No, I didn't get to, like, they snapped it back when they tried to pick it up. When they tried to, like, grab my hand, it kind of went back in place on the
court.
On the court. So from that point on, again, it was kind of numb in a sense. And again, I was like, okay, shit, this ain't my dominant hand. I can play with one hand out here. I just got to play even harder now.
That's crazy, man.
It actually started his yoga career.
Oh, yeah, it started my yoga career.
Shout out to DOA. Talk about that.
His yoga career.
Wait, before you talk about your yoga career, which I think is phenomenal, I think it's great for people to hear. Do you think you thought I was a dirty player after that? Because I saw a couple interviews. You said, "Yeah, he dirty." Like now we in the media. The media get that microphone in front of us.
Yeah, I probably gotta go. Yeah, I probably did throw dirt on that fucking name. Yeah, he dirty. Yeah, I don't like him. He did it on purpose.
You said that like this though. You had your lip like this. Like that's that. Like I won't mind getting them in. We don't mind getting in the booth together just fighting. He was like,
right, yeah. Can't wait to match up with the Heat again. Okay, yeah.
I was watching the video.
Let's lose the next 3 games, Doc. We played the Heat the first round. So.
That's funny.
Well, bro, let me just say this live, bro. Listen, I ain't want you to win, but I never want you to get hurt.
Right.
So that in that sense, for doing that, I apologize for that. Even though I didn't try to do that.
Appreciate that.
But I definitely didn't want your ass to win. But I didn't want you to get hurt at the same time. But because of that injury, you started doing something in your career that actually became something great for not only your career but your life.
Correct.
Talk about what you did from that injury.
So that particular injury, again, I played, I think, the next 2 games, but the last game I played, I was like, I couldn't take the pain anymore, and I pulled myself from that game. But I went home, Louisville, Kentucky, started my rehab. Rehab was hitting on nothing. So I'm like, I'm wasting my time and money. Let me try something new. And I started, I got introduced to Bikram yoga, 26 poses, 26 postures, where you're putting your elbow underneath your body, laying on it.
Ooh.
You know that.
I kept doing that, and lo and behold, it was like, damn, my shit was back to normal, and I never had any problems ever since. So I always created a yoga, and it just changed my life from that point on to do preventative things to help my body as I'm performing at a high level again with 7-foot giants, guys is 280. I'm 184 with 180 on a good day with 4% body fat. So those things I have to do to, like I said, prepare my body to take that type of mental beating and that, throughout the 82-game season.
That's incredible. That's something like that.
One body.
Incredible.
But people think you just going yoga to sweat or just going some poses. Like this is something that one of the game's greatest used to kind of get itself the strength back, the confidence back.
You always know when something's off in yoga, whether if you're holding a balance, a particular stance,
you're gonna see
something's wrong with my ankle, or my hip wrist isn't right. Like so, it's a hell of a healer, and also just mentally.
It's mental.
Bro, that's the one of the worst parts of yoga to me. When they have us put our wrists on the ground, facing the other way.
Yeah. That's what we're talking about. With the elbow underneath.
It is so uncomfortable, dog.
Be comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Oof.
That range of motion, right,
and just breathing through the pain.
That range of motion, right.
Oh, bro, that shit hurts.
It hurt good.
And if you just learn how to breathe, focus on your breathing, it just takes away the pain.
Focus on your breathing, though.
Doe, what was the word the other day me and Doe were in yoga when we FaceTimed you?
Yeah.
We learned a word.
I think it was a potty gras, something like that.
Potty gras, no attachments.
No attachment, yeah.
It was a word that our yoga instructor said while we were practicing. But Doe, being a super student, come back to her and say, hey, what was that word?
Mm-hmm.
And what does it mean?
Mm-hmm.
And it was no attachment. And we can come back and put it on the screen so everyone can see it. But it really, in yoga, it really works the mental with not attaching yourself to something or someone.
Right.
To really detach and be present in the moment. And I think with young people, they don't know how to detach because of social media, because of the iPhone, because of the things that they have. They don't get an opportunity to practice detachment. So they have a lot of distractions. And it takes away from getting to the level of play that you guys were able to get to because you guys didn't have that distraction.
The iPad. When the iPad died and the kids started.
It's not about it's just having the discipline.
Yeah.
Okay.
We've had our distractions, but it's just having the discipline to not put anything before your craft. So for me, it was like, okay, if I want to go out to a dinner, if I want to go to the club, I got to go get these shots up first.
With this work in first.
Yeah, so, and the same thing for me. Like, I didn't have a great college run or college experience. For me, I felt like I was behind. All my guys went to the league. This class right here, it was 14, 14 guys, 18 y'all went to the league out of high school.
High school kids.
So it was like, I got to go to college. I ain't got time to be going to a party, chasing some ass. I got to get to the gym because I'm missing out on this paper. So that was my mindset. So again, it was always just to work.
Yeah.
And I was catching up.
And speaking of college, you about to graduate.
I'm about to graduate.
Man, shout out. Hey, man. Listen. That's huge. That's huge, bro.
Hey, man.
Congrats on this, man.
Appreciate
How's that journey been for you?
It's been fun. It's been challenging. It's been rejuvenating in a sense because for the first 2 years I was coming out of retirement, I had nothing to do. I mean, kids go to school. Now I got a whole 8-9 hours to look at myself, look at my wife or something. So I was like, let me go back and educate myself. I first want to learn just because I want to learn how to, speak Spanish because nobody speaks English in Miami. So I was like, let me go to learn some things. And like I said, I had different motives. But I wanted to go back, and my academic advisor has been telling me for the last 10 years to go back, and I'm like, nah, I kept pushing it off. But little do you know, like I said, the NBA pays for it, as long as you keep a certain GPA. And then my University of Kentucky paid for it as well. So I had both ways to where I was covered as long as my GPA was at a certain average.
What's that average? Just for somebody who ain't finished school, what's that average?
Oh, to maintain, to keep your things paid for?
So the NBA pay for it. What's that average?
I think it's like a 2.5.
Oh, but man. You're going to graduate at 3.5.
We can do that.
A lot of people can do that, man. And then you got... Do they got people? No, but they do have tutors for athletes.
Okay.
They just asked you before. I said, you don't know. Okay, you went straight.
No, he
got 0 credit.
You and Josh Smith, I'm trying to get him the same way. You got it. Like I said, what I was fortunate to have, shout out to my man Mike Stone, who was my academic advisor when I was at Kentucky. I had 60% done. Right. And then, like I said, I just finished, I'm finishing my next 60 now with 6 hours left this semester. So
we're about to start pre-draft, right?
Yeah.
And in pre-draft, we got a lot of players that are going to leave immediately right when they're done with this.
Because you, once your season was over, what you do?
This particular, right around this time, April 4th, when we got bopped out of tournament Sweet 16.
You were out.
April 5th, I was in the downtown town of Chicago, training with Tim Grover. Immediately.
See, Tom Crean made me finish school. He was like, you're going to go to the league, you're going to finish school first. No, so I got a year and a half left.
Okay, that's light.
And I've been juggling like, man, when I'm going to find, and I think the biggest thing is like, we can make excuses for finding time for anything.
Right.
Yeah, no doubt.
And you have time to do anything you want to do, but I've been finding excuses.
I would say just do 6 hours. Start with 6 hours. And next thing you know, the next couple of years, you can be like, damn, I'm already done. Like, if you want to do 12, you do 12. But like, just start with 6. Because I tried to start, I went crazy my first year, and I was like, damn, that was a lot.
Yeah.
I was scheduled, I had a Monday, Wednesday, Friday class, and I'm like, damn, my weekends ain't cracking no more because I got to go to school on Monday. I got smart, then started doing Tuesday, Thursday, then I got even smarter, started doing online. And now we almost here.
Damn. But for those guys that are leaving school, Doe mentioned off camera, it's an opportunity because the NBA is really a short-lived, right? And so
short, bro.
The reality of it is that some people want to get back in college coach, and they
have
don't
a
have
degree.
a degree.
Right.
And so you had mentioned something I never heard of before.
Okay.
What was that word?
So when I left school, back in the day, 2004, I dropped out my classes basically. You know what I mean? So I left school, so I ended up failing all my classes, maybe like 4 or 5 classes. And when you leave school for over 2 years, you go back and you have a better GPA, which I do have now, it's all A's and B's, you can file academic bankruptcy. Wow. That way those, the classes that I didn't finish that semester, those fall off my record. And now my GPA goes crazy, and now I'm gonna get me a white cord May 9th.
Okay.
Graduated with 3.5.
Lord.
That's a
May
Congrats,
9th.
May 9th.
Man, listen, we've had you for a long time, though. We could talk. We hoopers. So
all
much we
day.
can talk about. Before we get to the end of this, I do got a question that I forgot. How did you feel about when Ray Allen came to Miami?
Oh, man.
You dirty.
No, that's a legit question.
How did y'all feel about it?
So the thing about it was you had just described our energy toward each other, correct?
Yep.
About how, again, it was the Celtics and it was the Heat and it was smoke every time we saw each other.
It wasn't no like. It wasn't no like.
Right. So we at war. That's the mindset. We at war. And then one of our troops comes and joins the op. How would you feel?
Oh, man, fuck it.
I mean,
Straight like that.
You know, that was the mindset again. It wasn't, I don't feel like it was, for me, people want to like point me, but for me, it wasn't as much as it did for the big three because those guys were the ones that were together. For me, Ray was my dog. He's my backcourt mate, and I love playing with Ray, but it was like, I wasn't as attached as people thought I was in a sense because, again, Ray's 10 years older than me. So, you know, we had a lot of things off the court that we did in common. Like I said, we always had great, Halloween parties. We always support each other off the court. That's what made our
y'all showed up together.
Yeah, we showed each other love.
You have to have that.
But Ray was a part of the big three in a sense. They would go smoke cigars. I wasn't doing that at 20 years old, 21 years old. So for me, my guys was me. We were the young guys. So when Ray left, I feel like they were more attached to more of a like we came in this bitch together. And then you do us like that. But me, it was like, man, my nigga, we at war with these niggas.
Right.
And then, you my shooter. Now you go join us. So that's the mentality, the mindset that, again, that playing in that particular time in the game, that's how it was. So it's not like He went and joined the Washington Wizards. He's going every time we in the conference finals. We at these and you go join them. So that was the disconnect that we didn't really fuck with. But again, he made his own decision. That's my guy. I'm gonna clear it up. Like it's no harm foul. Like everybody try to point me as a guy, and I'm gonna clear up one thing. It was a rumor like that I didn't invite him to the reunion, but I'm like, for one, I always operated. I always talked to my big homies. So it wasn't like it was my decision to say something or to go about it as he's not invited. I'm like, y'all won't do that there? Then I got the green light to say or the red light, whatever, how we're going to code it. But I got the message from them. And I was just the guy that's going to organize it.
I mean, we get it. When you paint it like that,
we understand.
We at war versus them, you go join them, now you with them.
You with them.
If Brian, if you do anything and Brian or Bosh come over here with us,
to Boston?
That's what I'm saying. That's the same goddamn thing.
Ooh, I ain't never even thought about that. You ain't lying. You ain't lying. If I see CB over there with y'all and we playing y'all in the conference
we just got out of the conference final and it was smoke like that.
I'm hot. Yeah, you're right. He gonna see me outside his cameras at his house. All black.
and then we win it on y'all next year. Like, come on, bro.
Yeah.
Where's crib?
Yo, I remember a moment in one of the years. First year we played each other in the conference finals, went 5 games. Then the next time we went 7. And I remember a moment, me and Doe, being young, being in each other's face. We both like, I'm going for my second. We sitting there, it's a free throw line. We both looking at each other like, he like, I'm about to go for my next ring. I'm like, nigga, I'm about to go for mine. We sitting there having this convo about it's winning time.
Right.
One of us about to go for our next championship.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there like, nigga, I'm about to go for my third. He's like, nigga, I'm about to go for my. That's how we talking, bro. We looking at each other, no smiles, like, nigga, fuck you, I'm going for my next one. Competition,
my point again. When the nigga join the ops like that, and it's that much smoke in the locker room on the court, don't you join the ops?
You don't get no passes for that.
Can't get none. I mean,
can't get none.
I same one more. I'm gonna give you one more though, and then I think he might have started something. KD did the same thing.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
My guy, he did this.
Russ was hot.
Same thing.
Russ was hot.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I can't
Like he went to the
even talk about that because I don't even know that world. You're right. Now you said
only
like that.
team the guys
Damn,
like,
Ray,
you know.
appreciate you, boy. Damn, right. Appreciate you, bro.
Hey, I appreciate he got me one too though. Hey, it is what it is.
What it is.
Yes, sir. Appreciate Brian.
Listen, man, we want to get you out of here, bro.
I got one of your teammates back.
We appreciate you, Brian. We appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. We want to get you out of here, man. You and your beautiful wife can enjoy y'all Friday night here in LA.
Yes, sir.
Here on the Timeout Show, man, obviously hosted by myself and my guys. Thank you for once for coming out here, driving through traffic to get out here
Sir, man.
to the valley.
We in LA, man.
We in LA.
That's only right.
Thank you for joining our show, man. We just try to, obviously talk the game. Enjoy talking about the game. Enjoy talking about the things we talk about. But one thing that's always important for me at the end of the show, every guest that come on, is that they get an opportunity to talk to the next kid that's trying to be Rajon Rondo. That looked at what you've done in life in your career and say, I want to do that. I want to be that. I want to be in his seat. What message would you leave for a kid like that as he's on his journey or she's on her journey to be one of the next great PGs that plays with superstars and has an amazing career?
I think for me, for the young fellas or the young ladies out there, I think the people that are in your life that are positive, hold on to those people. The people that are going to hold you accountable, hold on to those people because at tough times, you can get the naysayers, you get the people that you don't believe in you that's going to tell you the wrong thing at wrong times could tamper and end your career. You got the people that's going to hold you accountable, tell you to do the right thing when you think it shouldn't be. You can fight as much as you want to, but as long as you're a willing listener, continue to work as much as you can on your craft, sky's the limit.
Love.
Yes, sir.
D. Wright, Coach Johnson, the great Rondo.
Appreciate you.
We took a time out. Appreciate you guys for joining us. Love.
Yeah, love.